Bridget. Does anybody recognize this song? Anybody? So I just get in the car. Any idea who this is? Anybody? Yes. George Michael? He wants to give us money. That's great. We'll take your money, Michael. George Michael. Somebody tell me. Won't you tell me? Why are words so hard for you? This is kind of funny. Okay, you guys know, if you've been following my channeling work at all, you know that music is an incredible portal, and it can open you up and get you ready for a channel. So I'm actually driving, just dropped one of my children off at school, and I am going to safely connect and chat with you a little bit, give you a little bit of a flavor for how channeling works and what it is. Now, George Michael has been on my list to channel for some time now, for at least 6 months. I've actually talked to him previously, and I shared a video on that on my other YouTube channel, the Fairygrasshopper channel. That's the other YouTube channel that I've used for the last several years. More content there, different kinds of content related to spiritual connection, intuitive development, energy, that kind of thing. So, kind of funny. So this morning, so we have a long drive into school. Sometimes my big kids, their high school is like 30 minutes from our house. So I'm driving in, and I just dropped off my daughter, and then I heading back home. And so I get in the car, like I turn on the radio right after I drop her off, and this is the song that comes on, George Michael. So I'm like, okay. So you're the next person you want to be channeled. So we're going to channel with him a little bit while I'm driving. Don't worry, I don't get into an altered state in a way that would be concerning or you have to worry or anything like that, because I have choice how deep I go in channel, so it's really not a problem for me. So I'm just going to let him kind of hang out. He just showed up on my passenger seat. He actually, I'm going to describe to you how he looks a little bit. He's, because I'm looking at him in my third eye chakra, which is my mind's eye, so I don't actually have to turn and look at him to describe him to you. So I'll describe him to you. We only have a little bit of time to chat, but we'll just do a little for you. And we've talked like twice, I think, right? He said yes. He's like, he just like nodded. And he is a little more round in the face than I would expect, to be honest. Like, he's got more of a rounder face. Of course, I have, like, 1980s, 90s expectations. He laughs. He went, oh. He like tilted his head back, opened his mouth, and he like slapped his knee, slapped his leg. Like he's really polite, though he's not talking yet. Like, I can't hear him very well. So that's clairaudient, the hearing part of psychicness. So yeah, he's a little bit rounder in the face. He's kind of scruffy a little bit. I kind of like that 5 o'clock shadow, but it's a little more than that. It's not a full beard, but it's kind of scruffily. And he's got beautiful eyes. He just lifted his sunglasses up onto the top of his head. He had sunglasses on. So cool. Totally, of course, it's George Michael thing. He says, you can call me George. Or George. I'm like, okay, call you George. So, George. And he just has just the most beautiful smile and gorgeous. He's got beautiful big eyes. Wow, they're gorgeous. They're really pretty. They kind of look like a brownish green, like maybe a hazel. They're not blue. So at least I can't see that they're blue right now when I'm looking. So hopefully they're not blue. Let me look. I think they're brownish hazel. All right. Maybe, are they green? I can't quite tell. They're kind of like a brown with a little bit of something else in it. So either they're hazel or they're green. It might be green, but it's not bright green. So anyway. All right. I'm trying to be specific, but it's tricky. Okay, so I'm like multitasking here, people. And I do not recommend this. Do not channel while you're driving. Not a good idea. However, what do I talk about? George, what do I talk about? Do you know? Do you pay attention from the afterlife? Do you listen? Are you a fan? That you can get messages easily when you are not trying super hard. And when you are driving in the car, because you listen to music. So music is a channel, it's a portal, it opens things up. And because you're not like thinking about anything specific, like you're not doing anything when you're driving. You're like paying attention to the road, so you're kind of on autopilot a bit. And you should be paying attention to the road, but it's an easy skill that we have, so we kind of just, do it. But so you're free, like you can connect a little bit. So, but don't try. Please do not try to do that when you're driving. Not a good idea. I'm like a professional. Okay. All right. So George, what do you have to share today? He says you can ask me anything. Did you have? Let's talk about your boyfriend, because that's what comes forward right away. Because the energy that you bring forward is your boyfriend. The haircut guy, is there a haircut guy, a stylist, makeup artist? He says we were, on and off and on and off, and he does talk about using pills or medication, doing drugs. He talks about that. He admits that that was part of his life, and that this boy, this boyfriend guy was kind of high maintenance and a little manic, it looks like, and he feels distraught now. He's kind of lost without Michael, and or George Michael. Sorry, why do I keep calling him Michael? Well, George isn't really your name anyway. It doesn't feel right either, but he's kind of lost without him. And he's always kind of been a little drama, So I don't mean to be rude, but that's how George Michael is explaining it to me. All right, my mom. He says my mom. Sending lots of love from my mom. I wonder if his mom is in heaven, because he's saying from my mom. He feels like he has two moms. I'm not sure what that has to do. I feel like one of them may be here on earth still, and one of them is in heaven. That's what it feels like. Two moms. My mom. Sending love from my mom. My mom, he says. I feel like he has a sister and at least one brother also. He makes me feel like there's a Jorge. Oh, that's a George, isn't it? Jorge is George. Is that Jorge, George? That's Spanish though. Do you speak multiple languages? He says yes. I'm like, okay, all right. But he said, but you wouldn't recognize it. So it must be like a dialect or something specific to the culture. I think you're from Greece anyway, originally, right? So something specific to whatever area maybe he's in. I don't know. All right, so let me just. He's showing me like he's flashing back to like the late 80s. Late 80s. He's got like a brooch on, a white shirt with a collared shirt with a brooch on, and then like a sports coat thing over the top of it. And he's got his beautiful puffy kind of hair with like blonde, a little bit of blonde in there. And he's talking to me, showing me this image. And it looks like he's being interviewed. And he's talking to me right now about, he's flashing back to that, and he's talking to me right now about the erratic or sporadic behavior that he's had over time, from time to time. Has been because he has battled addiction, and he's talking about drug abuse. He's saying it full out. It feels like he thinks it's really important to share that, because there's no shame in that. He's really saying there's no shame in that. There's no shame in that. Everybody needs help sometimes. Everybody does, but he says it's really unfortunate. He has this beautiful accent. And I'm not going to try that. My UK friends will totally, oh my gosh, I don't want to butcher your beautiful, I love the accent in England, across the pond, oh my gosh. Beautiful accent he has. And he says, it's unfortunate that not everyone has this kind of support structures in place or access to the services that they need. Like, he feels like he really wants to advocate for people having what they need, like the basic things that you need, like access to education, access to health care, access to especially health care, mental health care, especially with the addiction piece. I mean, and he feels like he does really have a lot of respect for kids and families. Like, he wants to help families and kids and be successful and to be able to pursue their dreams, he says, but everyone has a right to have a good life. That's what he's saying. He feels very philanthropic, and I love that. I love that about you. I love that about you. And he says something AIDS or HIV AIDS. I don't know if he was active in HIV AIDS stuff, but he's acknowledging Bono's work with AIDS and HIV. I'm confused whether or not you have it, though. I feel like you might. I mean, is that too private to discuss or talk about? I understand if it is, because again, I don't want families or friends or mega fans to be hurt or devastated by me sharing anything that could be overly painful that's not necessary to without a purpose. So he says he does want to raise awareness or bring awareness to being HIV positive and living with HIV. He says people don't have to die of AIDS. They can actually live with the virus and have healthy lives, he says. Feels like he had a partner that had AIDS or HIV positive. I feel like there's an HIV positive connection to him, and I don't know if it's his body blood or if it's somebody close to him's body blood. I think it's somebody close to him's body blood, and I don't know if he's not revealing whether or not he had AIDS or HIV. He's not saying that. I'm going to say that right now. He's not saying that. But somebody close to him for sure is infected and living with HIV. I don't know if it's full-blown AIDS, though. It looks like HIV because I see tons of the medicines, like all these intense medicines. Okay, he's showing me, he's saying one of my favorite concerts, that's a little random, was in Paris. He loved Europe, he's saying. The Americas were fun too, he says. The Americas were fun too, but there's something just beautiful about Paris, you know, about France. It's just beautiful in France. And is there a Lavon or La L apostrophe Lavon? Am I saying it right? He says, ooh, he's like, you're trying. Very good for trying. I'm like, oh, he's so sweet. Honestly, he has really a gentle spirit. His energy feels very gentle. He says, well, now that's how you feel me now, he said, but he feels very manic at times in his life. Very manic, almost bipolar-like. I'm not saying he had bipolar disorder. I'm not saying that. Did not say that. Let's be clear, people. But he feels like that, like times when he's very like, oh my gosh, manic, and then other times when he's just really down. And I don't know if that's because of drugs or influence of drugs or medications, or if that is actually like a mental health type of a concern. I'm not sure. All right. And he's talking about a puppy dog. And it almost looks like a fluffy, puffy, stuffed animal thing, a fluffy puppy dog thing. I don't know what that's about. It literally looks like he's like squeezing this little, like, it's kind of floppy. It looks like a stuffed animal, a big puppy stuffed animal with white long ears and long legs and body, and really fluffy with like a black nose. And I see that. I don't know what that is, but I see that he's holding this fluffy, puffy dog stuffed animal thing. Not sure if that has a symbolism or meaning. Some of you guys might know. If you do, please put it in the comments. And that's George Michael. I don't know a lot about George Michael, just that I liked his songs, you know, and the Wham Time and the Wake Me Up Before You Go Go and the Careless Whisper and the Father Figure. I mean, just beautiful. I liked his voice is gorgeous. And I love his Last Christmas song, my favorite of all time history ever. Love that song. So awesome. Excellent job on that. And so if you guys have questions that you'd like to, things that you'd like me to interview or chat with George Michael about, please put them in the comments below, because I don't know a lot about him and I'm not sure what people who are fans would want to know. So please do that. Thank you so much. Thanks, George Michael. I want to call him Michael so bad. I don't know why, but that's what I want to call him. So thank you so much for being here. He's like, you're very welcome. You know, he's like, you're welcome. Like he wants to sing to me. I'm like, yes, please sing to me. He says, okay, let's sing. I'm like, all right. Makes him brings him joy. So this is Bridget. Thanks for being here, and make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel and to share Above Life channel with your friends. Thank you.